the eminent representatives of UNICEF, thank you for being available. Representatives of the teacher unions who are present. I see the president of the State Afrikaanse, Onderwys Unie, who is present out here. We met earlier this morning and we meet again this evening. Thank you for making yourselves available. But then there's UNISA represented and also a partner in the system of the teacher centers that we've developed, and they've contributed with Vodacom as well as Mindset, as well as Cisco. And I saw, I think, Alfie Hamid, if I'm not mistaken, with the long beard over here, is emulating Moeen Ali from England, and our own cricketer, Hashim Amla, to say there's nothing wrong with the beard. You can play and you can learn whilst you have a long beard. To all our stakeholders who are present out here, and those that I might not have mentioned, a very, very good evening to you, and thank you for making yourselves available. Tonight is a very special night for me because in a sense, it's not a culmination of, but certainly a very, very important milestone in a vision for quality education. I think critical to the system of education is the opportunity that we provide for professional development. And the reality that we've had in the past, until very recently, was the fact that in order to enhance your capacity and your professional development as an educator, you had to travel huge distances. For those of you who are in the Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, Limpopo, and Mpumalanga, you would understand how difficult it is to go to an institution of higher learning in order to access opportunities for inset development and training. What we did as we gathered and considered and reflected on the system of education is what do we do differently in order to ensure that we provide access to quality education and training for professional development. And thus the idea of teacher centers emerge, an important conduit for professional development, a critical element for the provision of quality education, and an opportunity not only for educators but also for teacher unions and communities as well as learners. And I think it is in that context we must recognize the important contribution that has been made in the creation of these particular centers. This is a period, as the President says, of radical socio-economic transformation. And radical socio-economic transformation means doing things on a scale that has not been done hitherto, doing things quite differently and having the optimal impact so that every citizen in the country can feel the might and power of change. And that means as we see it out here, you become very, very important agents of change because you are center managers who are responsible for creating a vibrant, exciting environment that would encourage educators who are core and central to learning and teaching to do what they can do best, that is teach. And therefore, your roles as these agents for change, as the vanguards for this radical transformation cannot be but understood, accepted, acknowledged, and recognized. And I thank you for making yourselves available in this very, very important radical transformation that we seek to achieve. We must recognize further that we are in the 21st century. And in the 21st century, we must recognize it's an era or an age or an epoch of information and knowledge. And therefore, we require the instruments that will enhance our ability to educate ourselves, being committed to lifelong learning, I'm sure all of us are, as well as our more than 12 million learners that are in our schools. And that means enhancing technology in order to do so. So if, for example, we were to say, one of the signs that I might have forgotten is, hey, Vodacom, you know, OA2, they too understand the role and the power of technology. And we've made it our task and responsibility to ensure that our teacher centers have highly sophisticated connectivity and have the appropriate technological resources to enable and enhance teaching and learning in those sites. And we are therefore grateful to Vodacom for what they have done, but not only to Vodacom, also to Mindset, as to UNISA, and all our partners and Cisco in doing what we did. I'm certainly excited about the fact that Vodacom has really taken the huge transcendental step forward, and they've done so with Telkom Foundation. And they say listening is an art. And indeed, as we spoke about the challenges that we face in education systemically in terms of bridging the digital divide, our conversation with Vodacom was taken very, very seriously, both in respect of teacher development, professional development, our teacher centers, as well as the creation of a cloud where you would almost have an infinite archive of information that you could access for purposes of enhancing your ability to educate, to teach, and to learn. And I think this is critical. We must recognize that Vodacom is a service provider for more than 50% of our users of our mobile phones, and therefore they are within reach of the users. We must also recognize that there are other role players who are more than happy and willing to join us in the creation of this cloud. And what is exciting about technology and its transversal nature is that if indeed you access the education cloud which we are going to create through Vodacom, you are not going to pay anything for it. So you could download all the data that the Department of Basic Education wished to place in its cloud free of charge with compliments from Vodacom. Isn't that wonderful? That means that we have a particular task and responsibility in ensuring that we create, through our architecture in terms of this digital environment, the appropriate resources that could be accessed. And already a wonderful start has been made. We hear about Via Africa, Cambridge, and other partners who are willing to provide us with the digital content of our books. So e-learning and e-books become a reality in the lives of our learners. And being in Gauteng and listening to the noise that comes from Gauteng with regard to the digitization and the creation of a digital environment in our classrooms, we certainly think that it is a step in the right direction. And the reality is that very soon, many of our learners, if not most of our learners, will be utilizing either a mobile phone or a tablet or an iPad or a computer or a laptop in order to ensure that this becomes, well, as an enabler of learning. And all the information and resources that we provide through either the Vodacom cloud or the Telkom cloud or the education cloud would be available and accessible to those learners and educators. It's really an era of self-directed learning. It's really an era of facilitating learning. And you as center managers must be able to ensure that you provide not only the facility to access content, but also the methodology and the pedagogy in ensuring that you are able to utilize that content through technology as an enabler in the learning and teaching environment. So your task is a very interesting one. And I'm so heartened to hear that as you set out here during the few days, I think it's 5 days of your workshop, you certainly had experience, direct exposure to the possibilities through Mixit and other devices and other technological opportunities that can present itself in the learning and teaching environment. And please tell me, was it exciting or not? Very, very exciting, yeah. So the organizers of this event must be really acknowledged and thankful for their wonderful commitment to this particular task. Because if we do not start with our center managers, then the resources that we have there are of no use or consequence. I can share with you my own experience in visiting some of the centers, and I've seen the unevenness in those centers. And immediately I see a center that is vibrant, exciting, attractive, busy. I know that there is a center manager who knows her job in that particular center. And then you might find a center that is less exciting, rather inactive, with all the same resources. And you say, is the center manager doing his or her job in this particular center? And therefore we felt that unless we basically drive home the understanding of what your roles and responsibilities are as center managers in that particular environment and the possibilities that you can create and generate through this passion that you have as leaders in those institutions, we are not going to succeed. So what we might have now are 40 fully functional connected centers. But I can assure you that within the next 9 months, we would have no less than 110, and within the next year, we would have at least 140 teacher centers countrywide, more than one per district. We said we are not going to wait for teacher colleges to be established. Things are changing so rapidly, and it's not only about what you learned in order to become a teacher, it's what you learn whilst you are a teacher, because the environment is changing so rapidly. And teacher centers therefore become very, very paramount. Now, I would want to believe, and I'm sure you have certainly reflected on this, that as center managers, you must have a clear understanding of the education paradigm. That you must know why we have an annual national assessment where we test more than 7.2 million learners, and why we do an analysis in terms of the performance of our learners in order to identify the gaps, and what kind of interventions are necessary as managers of those centers to ensure that the performance of our learners and our educators in those institutions, in the surrounding schools, are indeed improved as a result of that analysis. Because if we don't do that, it would be a mechanical exercise of writing the annual national assessment and having a sense of where our learners have gone wrong, but doing nothing to change the condition of either the knowledge of our learners or educators. And I'm sure you've discovered, and please tell me if I'm wrong, that there is a challenge with regard to content knowledge amongst our educators, especially in the areas of mathematics and science. And there is also a challenge amongst our educators in the area of language itself. And language indeed has become a barrier and continues to be a barrier for both educators and learners. Now, many of us don't have the benefit and have not had the privilege of having English as our mother tongue. And unless you speak another language as your mother tongue, you will understand how difficult it is to assume, integrate, embed another language as efficiently as one who utilizes a language as his or her mother tongue. So the barriers in relation to the performance of our learners as a result of this language barrier are something that we cannot ignore. And certainly all our centers must become centers for the enhancement of literacy. Because the professors from institutions of higher learning will tell you that just a learner who excels in mathematics and science, because of language difficulties, might not perform as she or he would. So your cognitive element is one element and one dimension of performance. But your linguistic element is another dimension that is often ignored. Now, why do I say so? I say so as a result of my interaction, and I like to observe and listen and observe and experience the realities in our school. And we, the minister and I, do not visit schools without entering the classroom. And not very long ago, I visited an excellent school in Brits, in the Northwest Province. It was celebrating its 100th anniversary. And I interacted with the learners, and I was amazed at their ability. It was historically white, predominantly Afrikaans, but these learners were good in terms of numeracy, in terms of literacy. And I had had a conversation with the educators prior to my visit to the classroom, and they indicated to me that they don't have much use and value, or they don't place much value in the workbooks that we have designed and provided. And I said, well, let's test it in real life. So we went to the classroom and I engaged with them in Afrikaans, and ek het redelike goeie Afrikaans praat, and I was able to interact with the learners in Afrikaans and question them in Afrikaans, and hulle het baie goed gevaar. So then I did the switch. I told them to take out a book that they use in history and read a paragraph in English. And I started asking them questions on it. And the performance dropped from 100% to less than 50%. Not because they were not bright, but because of the barrier of language. And immediately the educator understood the message of the workbook, that it is to enhance the ability, particularly for a first additional language. So the Afrikaans-speaking child or the Zulu-speaking child or the Xhosa-speaking child would be able to utilize the workbooks to enhance his or her ability in a first additional language. And I think we must recognize that. So the workbooks are there, not for show, but for use. And we've got to monitor that and promote the use of the workbook and teach and educate our learners about its responsibility. Now, tonight's event is about partnerships also, and celebrating partnerships. And Orlando Pirates are not here by accident. And I said that the listening experience is important. I had spoken to the chairperson several years ago, and I indicated to him, you have this wonderful, extraordinary club with a wonderful, extraordinary reputation, where perhaps not as, maybe almost as good as Vodacom in terms of its support. Maybe more than 50% of the population supports Orlando Pirates. Kaiser Chiefs fans will disagree, and you are entitled to do so. That's the nature of the debate. That's the nature of the debate. But what I said is that you can draw thousands to your stadium. But what is it that you offer other than recreation? Aren't those people that are there entitled to a better education? And shouldn't we do something in those venues where we can enhance education? And true to his word, he made the commitment, and the gentleman out there is responsible for a wonderful ICT center in Orlando Stadium with state-of-the-art technology utilized by not less than 14 schools in the vicinity and the community whenever they want to, and teachers are being developed there. So Orlando Pirates is also contributing to it. But that's not the end of the story, because we want more. Radical transformation is you don't have it in one stadium, you must have it in all the stadia in the country. And the commitment is, yes, we're going to expand throughout the country. Thank you, Orlando Pirates. Please convey that to the chairperson. And indeed, that's a challenge to Chiefs. But Platinum Stars have already done so in Bafokeng. So it means that even those that are responsible for our sport, and we are all passionate about our sport, have a particular responsibility. Amaboka Boka are promoting reading. They say, we said, let's be an enlightened rugby player so that you can read. And it's not only about muscle, it's also about brain. And how can we combine brain and brawn in a way that we can say, wow, we really have it all? And certainly the players of the Springboks have gone to schools to promote learning and into reading. And it's a wonderful experience. I see Alfie Hamid sitting out here. And Cisco is saying that they are willing to provide support, human resource in the architecture of the education cloud, free of charge. So this goodwill is there amongst our collaborators. And I think what the radical transformation is not about working in silos to say, this is my territory, Vodacom, no other signal can come here. It's got to say, we have a shared responsibility in providing quality education, and whether we are MTN, Vodacom, Cell C, Telkom, we've got to do it together and collaboratively. And that is the radical transformation within our country. And I think we must say we've done it together. Colleagues, you have a wonderfully prepared meal that you're going to partake in. But really to say to you that if at all we're going to achieve this radical transformation, it would mean that you've got to be the drivers of that change. And unless you take your task seriously and understand and appreciate fully the immense potential and possibilities of what you're going to achieve or what you can achieve, we're not going to succeed. You see, the women that marched and the charter that was adopted some 60 years ago, and the women that marched in 1956, nobody believed that they would be contributing meaningfully to change. They did so already in 1912, and they did it again in 1956 in the thousands from all corners of the country. And people looked at them, but it's the women that led the march. And they believed that there would be change, and they believed that there was going to be freedom and equality and social justice and quality education for everybody, and that they would no longer have to carry the dompas. It might have been a dream to some, but it was a vision that they had, and it was a vision of a better future. Today, in the 20th year or 21st year of our democracy, we can say thank you to those women who were bold and brave and audacious enough, who believe that change must come to this country. And I see in our gathering wonderful women who indeed can bring about this change. So let us pay homage to their memory, to their commitment for change, because it is, after all, their children that we are speaking about when we speak about our learners. They basically are the caregivers. They are responsible for this population over here, and certainly they would want the best for the children. So if we want to pay homage to those leaders who were so heroic in their enormous contribution, let us do so by providing quality education to everybody. So to all the partners who have made this event a success, and I'm not going to mention names because I think it's a collective effort by all stakeholders. Thank you very, very much. And I do hope that you have all enjoyed yourselves. My minister, Angie Motsecha, who also happens to be the president of the Women's League, and this month I only call her president and not minister because she's the president of the Women's League and it's a Women's Month, has asked me to convey her best wishes to each and every one of you and to say thank you very much for being in attendance, and we wish you all the best in the future. Kia leboha, Nkosi, Baidanki.
Once again, colleagues, a round of applause for the champion of radical transformation in education through partnership with Vodacom. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. Now, as they say, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. The moment of awards. I now call upon Mr. Temba Kojana from the Department of Basic Education and Mr. Ntobeli Tengimfen from Vodacom to the stage to hand out the certificates of participation. Give them a big round of applause. Right. Good. I'm going to be calling onto the stage the following participants who will tonight receive the certificate of participation. First, we call upon Mr. Duma Nganiwa to collect the certificate of participation from the Eastern Cape Department of Education. Give it up to him. Thank you. Next up, we call upon, give it up again, once again, ladies and gentlemen. We call upon Ms. Francina Mohashwa to collect the certificate of participation from the Gauteng Department of Education. Okay, is somebody collecting on? All right, thank you. Give it up to that beautiful moment. Right. Thank you very much. We now call upon Ms. Sibongile Mbongwe to collect the certificates of participation for the participants from the KwaZulu-Natal Department of Education. There she comes. A round of applause. And then we call upon Ms. Nosipho Malope to collect the certificates of participation for the participants from the Mpumalanga Education Department. There she comes. Ladies and gentlemen, just assist her feet with that round of applause. Thank you, much appreciated. We now call upon Ms. Doria van Niekerk to collect the certificates of the participation for the participants from the Northern Cape Department of Education. A big round of applause. We now call... It's women's power, as you can see. And the Honorable Deputy Minister has used this prerogative to tell you how to do it. You can hold your heart for the women. We now call upon Dr. Abasei Tsanwani to collect the certificates of participation for the participants from the Limpopo Department of Education. Dr. Thank you. We finally now call upon Ms. Nobantu Pasia to collect the certificates of participation for the participants from the Western Cape Department of Education. I'm just going to call now Mr. Ernest Stalls, the Stalls from Free State, to receive the certificates of participation for the participants from Free State. That's Mr. Stalls. Thank you. And then we call Mr. Nelson Siakamela to receive the certificates of participation for the participants from Northwest. From Northwest. There we go now. We would like to call upon 4 other participants to collect certificates. These are STW Ngobo, S. Machere, MW Macheri, Puseletso Wayani. Here they come. Give them a big round of applause once again. Great moment indeed. Thank you. Thank you and congratulations to all center managers for completing the teacher center management training. And I take this opportunity to release our presenters and give it up once again to our presenters, Mr. Kojana and Mr. Tengifene. I'd like to take this privilege and honor to call the Honorable Deputy Minister, yes, our one and only Deputy Minister Anvaserti, as, yes, and Ms. Maya Makamji back on stage to present the awards to our winners. The first award is the Twitter Bug Award. It is an award for the best tweet during the training with the hash DBE Sandal at DBE SA and at Vodacom included in the tweet. This award takes the form of a cool 110 free air and a modem. Give it up to that one. Now we have 2 winners of the Twitter Bug Award. The first is at D-Low with the following tweet. At D-Low with the following tweet. Is that the recipient? There we go now. The tweet reads as follows. The minister is spot on. If it doesn't impact in the classroom, it was not worth your planning. A big round of applause for the tweet. There we go now. That's D-Low tweet at D-Low. Thank you very much. And then the second winning tweet receiving the Twitter Bug Award is at Hossein19 with the following tweet. At Hossein19. Oh, yeah. Now, as it shakes the Honorable Deputy Minister's, please stand so that people listen to what you said. He posted the following tweet. Using all the tools and expertise we gained here is like baking a cake. All ingredients are there. We must just mix it. I understand that during this week, all center managers and the DP officials have joined Twitter. Many of them joined for the first time. There have been lively and exciting tweets with photographs and videos. There they go there, over there. They are now all called tweeps. Give it up to tweeps. The tweeps are the people who tweet. So it's a lifelong learning that we're going through. The next award is the Digital Classroom Master Award. This award goes to the first person who signs up and completes a task correctly on the Vodacom Digital Classroom. The winner will win a web box. For those of us born before computers, the BBC. A web box enables internet on the television. Through the web box, you can connect to the internet via television. The award provides 100 megabytes per month for a cool 12 months. The winner of the Digital Classroom Award is Ntoza Shangani. A beautiful web box is right here. Over to you. That's right. Thank you. Thank you. Give it up. A round of applause for him. The next award is the Best Teacher Center Data Award. This award goes to the center manager who has completed a thorough review of their teacher center data, who has made meaningful amendments and provided us with accurate data. And the winner is the winner will win a Sony Xperia Android smartphone. Whoa. Honorable Deputy Minister, this is really radical transformation in education. The winner of the Best Teacher Center Data Award is Miss Makosazana Mbongwa from the Ukahlamba District Teacher Center, KwaZulu-Natal. Because she started from scratch and found subject advisors and numbers of teachers that attended programs. Give it up to Miss Makosazana Mbongwa. The next award is the Best Teacher Center Photographer. The Honorable Deputy Minister, Mr. Andrew Sergi, has been asking for center managers to take photos of their centers with their cell phones and send them to the DBE. A number of center managers have, in fact, done this. We will be rewarding the center managers that manager who has taken the best photo of their centers. The winner will get a web box. The Best Teacher Center Photographer Award goes to Mr. Musebetsi Mputi from Moteo Teacher Development Center, Moteo District, Free State Province. As he stands here next to our honored presenters here, his photographs covered the following: the admin block, classrooms, committee room, EduToys room, IBP room, ICT center, internet cafe, library, life sciences lab, mini hall, signboard, training room. He went an extra mile to cover the whole center inside and out. The next award is the Ukufunda Fundi Award. This award goes to the person who is able to log on to the Ukufunda and post a real calendar entry based on an event at their teacher center. The winner will get an incredible Samsung Galaxy S4 Mini Android smartphone. The Ukufunda Fundi Award goes to Princess Dineka from Boipelo Teacher Center in Gauteng. There she comes. Once again, big round of applause for Sisi Princess Dineka. There we go. Right. Now, the final award is the Best Teacher Center Vision. This award goes to the teacher center and center manager with the most creative vision. The winning teacher center wins an Acer Aspire ProLine laptop. And the center manager wins a web box. Give it up to that. The Best Teacher Center Vision Award goes to two people whose vision in the view of the judges were equally great. Orlando Pirates knows you can play for a draw. The one winner is Nancy Shoma from Macau Education District Support Center, Northwest. Whose vision is a hub of excellence providing quality service to school communities. There we go now. A big round of applause. The other Best Teacher Vision Award goes to Mr. Hela Fuzile from the Education Leadership Institute in the Eastern Cape, whose vision is to provide quality professional development programs that will transform our schools into centers of excellence. I would like to take this opportunity to release the Honorable Deputy Minister and our own Maya Makamji from Vodacom. Right. Thank you. I would like to take this opportunity to request you to give a big round of applause to thank all the center managers for their participation, and congratulations to all the winners tonight. I would like to take this opportunity to go straight into this other epic moment of tonight. I now hand over to the Acting Director General of Basic Education, the one and only, Mr. Matanzima Mweli, to come and give a vote of thanks. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, a great round of applause to the Acting Deputy Director General from the Department of Basic Education.
Good evening. Good evening. Program Director, indeed my name is Matanzima Mweli. I'm the Acting Deputy Director General for Curriculum, not the Acting Director General. The Acting Director General is Mr. Padayachi, who's convey his apology because he got held up in other matters and he couldn't be here this evening. Deputy Minister, I have observed you for a few years that I've been working close to you. We both come from the Northwest, and every time when you take the podium, you never fail to inspire me. And I want to say thank you very much for always living up to expectation. I enjoy even very much when you are in the National Parliament and you take on the opposition, and we always enjoy that moment. I also want to appreciate the presence and the wonderful address of the Chief Officer Corporate Affairs from Vodacom, Ms. Maya Makanji. Thank you, ma'am, for gracing this occasion and for your inspiring address this evening. I think it was time well spent for all of us, and thank you once more. I also want at the same time to take the opportunity to thank the leadership of Vodacom. You know, DM, the partnership between Vodacom and DBE, I was among the people who started, but as fate would have it, I would start things and then somebody would come and take over. But I'm used to that. Such is life. But I really want to appreciate the support that we continue to get from Vodacom. And I heard the Chief Officer Corporate Affairs talking about the sky is the limit. And my colleague said, not the sky the sky is the limit of sundowns. And I'm sure we can go places with Vodacom. And thank you very much for the ongoing support. I've also been requested to appreciate and convey thanks to Schoolnet. Schoolnet has been doing a wonderful job with Vodacom, facilitating training. It's been a really wonderful week and wonderful engagement. We really want to thank you for the role that you've played so far. How can we leave out our teachers? Together we will swim, or together we will sink. And I think so far we've been able to steer the very big ship of the education sector together. And it looks like we're heading in the right direction. And I also want to also convey our appreciation to school governing body associations and the structures that are represented here. We really appreciate your support. I've also been requested to appreciate and thank our partners in the National Teacher Education and Development Committee, SAIS, the ETDP SETA, the ELRC, and the Department of Higher Education and Training. Together we are all in this. Let's appreciate their support and their contribution. The National Education Collaboration Trust has played a very important role in demonstrating their support in all our endeavors in carrying out this project. We also want to thank them for their contribution. How can we leave out UNICEF? I've seen the very high-ranking officials of UNICEF who continue to support us and who've gone a long way in supporting us in the development of the ICT platform to support teacher centers. We really want to appreciate their support. May I also, before I leave the podium, to acknowledge and appreciate the support of Mixed Reach for their partnership on the Ukufunda platform. We want to say thank you very much as well. We've been entertained from the first day, DM, up to the penultimate end of this important event by the Kliptown Youth Program. You've seen it here. They remain loyal to only two organizations, Vodacom and DBE. And for that, we want to thank you very much, Kliptown Youth Program. I also want to appreciate the support and the contribution made by provincial education officials, as well as officials from DBE, including Mr. Kojana's team. Unfortunately, I cannot guarantee that your contribution will be considered during your performance review. But I think safe to say, we really appreciate your contribution. I will, however, try very hard to persuade Mr. Kojana. But as the member of the moderation team, I'll make sure that your scores are moderated to what you deserve. Let me also appreciate the sacrifice, immense sacrifice, by the way, made by the center managers, first manning those centers. Some of the centers are in very deplorable conditions, dear. These men and women continue to soldier on. Some of them are forgotten. Some of them are hardly recognized and supported. And we want to say that continue to carry out that national duty. education is a national service. It's a national duty. Now, if I don't recognize Mr. Kojana, he won't invite me next time. So let me make sure that my invitation is guaranteed in future and appreciate his leadership in this project. And you have really demonstrated that we do have leadership in this organization, and keep up the good work, colleague Kojana. Last but not least, Mr. Rabotapi. Now, I have worked on a number of projects with Mr. Rabotapi. The passion that he demonstrates every time when he's given an assignment to carry out, it's amazing. And I want us to recognize his contribution, and we want to say, Ndate Rabotapi, thank you very much, Ndate. Well, what I know is that he has not disclosed that he's got any ambitions except for in the public service as a public servant. So the support might be misplaced. Let me also then thank the program director for this evening, Dr. Khalani. He's a wonderful man. I pride myself, DM, as probably the only branch that has a performance artist. And the man who's able to rise to the occasion all the time. He's navigated this program exceptionally well. And thank you very much, Dr. Khalani. Let me lastly thank the hotel for taking care of us the whole week. I think it's been a wonderful moment. And colleagues, this is not the last day. Mr. Rabotapi has assured me that you're going to be consolidating tomorrow. So that's not the end of it this evening. I've also checked those who received the certificates. Please remember that they carry no credit. And you might not be successful in producing them for your performance assessment. That's on a lighter note. Thank you very much. Enjoy yourselves, and thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Director General for Curriculum, Department of Basic Education, Mr. Matanzima Mweli. Give it up to him once again. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for allowing me to drive this program to this point, and that at 1:15 exactly, Mr. Mweli was giving the vote of thanks as it is written on the program, and we are right at the end of the program at the time that was determined by the program designers, and would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for making it all possible by being so quick and so speedy and responsive, and would like to thank you. My closing remarks, it's that I would like to, from a poem that is written by a young man whose name I will not mention for reasons I will disclose some other time, because he happens to be talking at the moment. Right. The poem says, "No gust of hurricane can erase the footprints we make on the shore of time. Footprints we make with tips of our toes, and footprints we make with gallant strides. All footprints, if made once made, are made. They remain there longer than our hearts would want them to, much, much longer than bones and cloth survive in the mouths of graves. And often in retracing our footsteps into the directions we do not like, we make new ones in the same direction, perhaps with fresh intents for our children to track us down on, for our children to track us down on. Thank you. So I'm going to take this opportunity to invite all of us to dinner in the following protocol. I'm a man of protocols. But the Honorable Deputy Minister has the prerogative. You must understand that. It's a legal issue. He's an advocate, so he understands very clearly what prerogative means. So he has the power to set aside in legal procedure the protocol for the time as a member of parliament. But the protocol for dinner are as follows. Table 9, Table 10, and Table 21 will lead us to dinner. Once they have served, then I've got a team of ladies. You can just raise your hands right in the center, to the left, right. They will then direct tables as in a particular order. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. I normally say this a bit quick, Mr. Matanzima Mueli. I normally say Deputy Director General. Deputy Director General. I say it and that fast, and a lot of people do not get to hear me when I say Deputy Director General. I would next time, when I go to foundation phase, I'm going to just say it very slowly, Deputy Director General. But when I'm here, I say it in a spirit of high-profile people, Deputy Director General. So that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you, and we may allow the 3 tables to lead us, and thank you very much. Enjoy, bon appetit, and good night.